Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. Contenders starting to separate themselves from the pretenders as we say farewell to the month of October and enter the month of November. Alongside former NFL QB Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza is here as well. I am Sam Ravech. So great to have you with us. We will get to some of the hot seat conversations a little bit later on, which, as you guys know, is one of my favorite conversations to have, the hot seat conversation. We will also give you our College Football Show Power 5 rankings when we finish the show. But before we do that, let's start with where College Game Day was this morning in a top 15 showdown, Scoob.
Yeah, we definitely want to get there because that showdown was everything that we expected it to be. But everyone in the country loves to hear about those horns, right? They love to hear about Texas. So let's get there first because Texas and Arch Manning were on the road at Mississippi State this afternoon. Longhorns have not been a good road team at all this year, averaging just 15 points per game in their 4 road games this year. But they got started on the right foot in the first quarter. Arch Manning throws the bubble screen here to Ryan Wingo, and he puts the team on his back like the name on his jersey. 16 yards down the field, get off of me. He had 5 catches for 184 yards on the day, and then Manning says, I'm the only one in my family that can really do this. Run it in for a touchdown. 7-0 Longhorns. But later in the first, Bulldogs in scoring position. Blake Shapen, oh yeah, he gets this to Sam West. Nobody wants to get him down. We're tied at 7, second quarter. It's 3rd and goal. Texas ball. Arch Manning finds his favorite target, Parker Livingston. His celebration is 10 out of 10 here.
You know, oh, yes, very good, 13.
He gets an invite to the cookout. That's all I have to say. Anybody that knows what I'm saying, you get with. Okay, 4th and goal, Bulldogs. They're going for it because you play to win the game. And this is why you do it. Kamario Taylor's pass gets tipped, but somehow, Seduyo Traore gets a touchdown. All right, we're tied at 14. Now less than a minute left in the half. Shapen lays it up to Brennan Thompson. That's light work, slight work. He had 6 catches for 72 yards. Mississippi State goes up 10, 3rd quarter. 30 seconds left. Bulldogs trying to extend their lead. Shapen finds Thompson again. I mean, their offense was humming at this point, and it started to look ugly. They're up 31-14, 4th quarter. Texas down 17, and Manning pressed the turn-up button twice, especially on this play as he unleashes the hand cannon to Ryan Wingo. Matt, this was special.
Man, just like the Florida play that we showed a few weeks ago, I just love the pocket movement. Great job shifting. You see the great turn loading into that right foot and the drive off that back foot and hip. Beautiful throw there on the move.
So it's 1st and goal. Watch this. We call this toe a drag swag.
This was sweet.
Parker Livingston, man. Another great throw from Manning and just another great grab.
Is this the best game Manning's played this year?
100%.
It most definitely is.
Career game for him in terms of passing yards, but in the 4th, Shapen, shovel past it, David Booth, and he's too fast, too furious. He's too fast for y'all, man. 62 yards. Shapen had 381 yards passing. What? It's a 17-point game again, but Arch back to work. This is why it was one of his best games, Sam. As you mentioned, Emmett Mosley here for the touchdown. Bulldogs still leading by 10 after that. Now they lead by 7. Pumped by Mississippi State and Ryan Niblett.
There he is.
He's already returned a touchdown this season, and he's going to do it again. The shake and bake like Ricky Bobby.
Tough to tackle,
Going down the field. Bye, Felicia. 79-yard touchdown. We have a tie game, and we will go to overtime.
Wow.
OT. There's never much love when you go OT. Texas has the ball first. Manning drops back, looking for something. The scramble. Uses his legs well, but took a hit at the end of the play. He would come up slow and have to leave the game.
How does that feel, Maddie, when that happened?
It doesn't feel good,
No.
you know, so hopefully, you know, with the concussion that he suffered, that he's okay and obviously gets the proper treatment he needs and rest, really. That's the biggest thing going forward.
Right.
Backup QB Matthew Caldwell comes in, and this is a top play moment. Hits Emmett Mosley. At first, it wasn't called a touchdown, y'all, but it was after review. Texas wins. Here's Sark after the game.
I said, guys, this is going to take 60 minutes. We got to be the tougher football team mentally and physically, and it's got to be all Texas fight tonight. And that's what it was. We didn't play great football tonight, but we surely fought. We played as a team. It's back-to-back weeks. Our culture showed up.
Absolutely dogfight, right? Great comeback for Texas in this game. Arch Manning does leave with an injury. Mississippi State battled, but you got to be impressed with just how Texas was able to come back from being down 17.
Hey, not ideal, especially against the opponent, but they got the job done, survive in advance. For Mississippi State, this has just been something that's popped up this year, right? Just not winning critical moments, absolutely dominated in the fourth quarter of this football game. Disappointing loss for the Bulldogs.
I mean, you feel for Jeff Lebby, too. The guy's 0-12 in SEC play. And the win against Arizona State earlier this year felt like it was good, but they needed this would have been a real staple win under Jeff Lebby.
It would have been. I still feel like it's like they're still a better football team, right?
Sure.
So I got that side of optimism, but hey, let's transition. Let's go to another great matchup that we had in the SEC. Number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks.
We got a black hoodie alert. Black hoodie alert.
Black hoodie, yeah, it's a staple now. It's selling for Halloween. First quarter, South Carolina is 3-0. Lenora Sellers throwing the check down. Tips and overdose, Scoob.
Oh, tips and overdose. You gotta get those.
Deshaun Jones starting the party off for the Alabama Crimson Tide with the pick 6 there. Runs in for the touchdown. Alabama leads 7-3. We're going to go to the second quarter now. Alabama leads South Carolina 7-6. Ty Simpson dropping back to pass. 41 yards here after a little pocket movement. And he finds Daniel Hill. I mean, look at the quads. Look at the density. Who the hell would want to tackle that guy?
Not many people, I'll tell you that.
Daniel Hill, there you go. So Ty Simpson dropped back. Here's 4th and goal, and he finds Ravech in the back of the end zone. Great job going through the read there on the goal line in a critical situation. We go to the third quarter now, and Sellers drop back to pass and just unleashes
the Kraken.
Wow,
that's scary.
Talk about the timing.
That's scary.
Finds Nick Harvard there. Jinx, my other Matt Sims friend. Nick Harvard there, wide open, gets behind the Alabama Crimson Tide. Secondary. Let's go to the fourth quarter now. Sellers calling his own number. I mean, man, is he a threat in the low red zone area? He's one of the most elusive
covered in
quarterbacks.
bacon grease? Slippery.
He is awesome with that. Ty Simpson now returning the favor, 2nd and goal. Great play design by Grubb. Gets Jeremy Bernard wide open there in the flat. Next possession, Sellers running. They keep him up. Great job. The front tip rip.
Ball out.
Deontay Lawson, great job. Look at the rip there at the end. Forcing that fumble, and Alabama able to recover. Tie ball game here. Another great play design by Ryan Grubb, getting Bernard into the quarterback position. He fakes that toss, the sweep down the sideline. Here is Kalen DeBoer post-game on a big win on the road.
We were great in the critical moments. There were some things that we didn't do well throughout the game, but we were great in the critical moments, and that was at the end of the game here.
Deontay Lawson comes up with the biggest play of the game. What can you say about that shot that he was able to come up with?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, just again, guys have been in the program. A guy like Deontay, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of TK. Those guys are, heart and soul. I mean, they're captains. They've been here forever. These are the moments that they've worked so hard for. But I'm proud of the coaching staff. Continue to just keep these guys heading in the right direction. I'm proud of our players for continuing to fight.
What a big-time win for number 4 Alabama on the road. Hey, it wasn't pretty, right? It wasn't. There was times where it felt like South Carolina was going to be able to get the big-time win over the top 5 opponent, but just Ty Simpson in critical moments. Ryan Grubb, Scoob, you mentioned it, right? This guy just has those play calls in critical moments to get his offense the opportunities they need.
I mean, it is incredible because every single week you and I look at each other and say, did Ryan Grubb just dial up another
Did it
jet?
again? He did it again.
So, honestly, one of the best play calls in the entire country, and the offense is reflective of that. They just need to work on a couple of things like that running game. But, hey, let's keep this show moving because this is where game day was, Sam.
Yep.
Missouri, Vanderbilt. And, listen, in Tennessee, there was a 10 that I did see, and it was the way that this game ended up. We picked this one up in the third. Diego Pavia gonna drop back to pass, and this ain't the tip drill from Nelly, it's the tip drill from Missouri. His pass gets picked off by Damon Wilson. They get the ball, and now Missouri wants to capitalize on a 4th and goal. Bo Pribula keeps it, and he's stuck at the 1 yard line. But the biggest story here, ladies and gentlemen, is Pibula will leave after the game with what appears to be a serious injury.
Yeah.
We wish the best for him later in the quarter. Mikaelin Young takes this handoff, and he is gone. No chance catching him. He's going past the speed limit, 80 yards to the house. Vanderbilt takes the lead 10-3 from there on. We go to the fourth quarter because there wasn't much action from there. Missouri's trying to tie the game. Matt Zollers is in at quarterback. He's going to drop back to make a great throw on 4th and 2 to Jude James. The Tigers tie the game up at 10. Next drive for Missouri. Zollers mishandles the handoff. You know, this isn't a guy that gets a lot of playing time in the game, so not great. They still got opportunity. 7 minutes left in the fourth. Vanderbilt trying to take advantage. Pavia is going to call his own number. It took quite a bit of attempts to be able to get into the end zone here, but they get up 17-10. Last chance for Missouri. Zollers here, putting together a drive in the final moments of the game. This is a Hail Mary. He tosses it up to the end zone.
What?
And it looks like an incomplete pass, but take a closer look here. Kevin Coleman Jr. caught the ball. He caught it, y'all. And unfortunately, he caught it at the 1-inch yard line.
Brutal.
Vanderbilt picks up a huge win, 17-10. Zollers did a phenomenal job coming into this game last minute. But Vandy, a huge win again, and they need to be taken seriously. Top 10 ranked team here. Their only loss of the season is against Alabama, where I'm sure in that locker room they're looking at it like, we didn't lose that game, we beat ourselves.
That's right. And you know, Missouri, again, just proving that their defense is really good. Holding
good.
Ty Simpson, right, to the most limited amount of completions and yards this season, and then slowing down the Vanderbilt offense. Very impressive by the Missouri Tigers in a loss. Hopefully they bounce back well now with Zoller as their starting quarterback.
Well, let's not forget, he was the third-string quarterback to start the year. Sam Horn, who was the original starting quarterback. Then Bo, who got injured. Hope he gets to recover soon. And then Matt Zoller is going to take the Tigers the rest of the way here. But they dropped to 2-2 in SEC play. All right, we move along in the SEC. Strength versus strength matchup in Norman, Oklahoma. Lane Kiffin and his offense against Brent Venables and that OU defense. Maybe not a play-in game for the playoff, but very possibly a playoff eliminator here.
Yeah.
Score is tied 3-3. 3rd and 8, Ole Miss ball. Trinidad Chambliss launches that one to Harrison Wallace, the third. Trey Wallace, 25-yard completion, first down for the Revs. 2nd and 5 here. Kewan Lacey all by himself, taking it to the end zone. Revs up 10-3.
This game was electric.
Yeah, it really was. We're going to go to the second quarter here. Top of the second, Ole Miss dominated the game flow for a good chunk of the first quarter, but the Achilles heel of this Rebels team, explosive plays, especially after the catch. Mateer, Isaiah Satanga for the 77-yard score, and Oklahoma is going to tie this thing up 10-all. 2 minutes to go in the half. Ole Miss now leading 15-10, thanks in large part to a safety and a field goal. Caden Lee, 31-yard strike, longest reception of the day. And that sets up an Ole Miss 1st and goal, and it's Lacey again. Back-to-back games with multiple rushing touchdowns for the sophomore from Dallas, 22-10. Now 25-13. Xavier Robinson somehow going to work his way through this defense and take off for a touchdown. Sooners are going to make this a 5-point game. Oklahoma needed some life offensively here.
I mean, at this point, you thought the game was about wrapped up, but they just started to put together explosives.
It's good to see Oklahoma being able to run the football outside of just John Mateer doing it himself.
Forget about wrapped up. Now Oklahoma's got the lead.
That's right.
That was quick. Robinson again straight up the middle. A 13-0 run in the third quarter to take a 1-point lead, but it would not last long. Ole Miss will go on a 9-0 run of their own in the fourth. Chambliss, Trace Bruckler. And a touchdown. That's what I'm talking about, baby. 8-yard score. Ole Miss regains the lead, 31-26. Ole Miss punting Satanga. He's going to take this punt 23 yards to the Ole Miss 47, but he fumbles the ball, recovered by the Rebs. This is a playmaker trying to make a play when his team needs it and just try to do a little too much.
Trace Bruckler, man, with that forced fumble there. Critical moment of the game. Great job on special teams.
Smoke him if you got him. Oklahoma, Mateer up in the air. Ole Miss going to survive this 34-26. Gritty road win for the Rebels. Sooners had a couple of chances to win this one, but they come up empty-handed.
Oh, are you talking a little bit to Oklahoma's players?
This guy yelled at me like during the game like 5 times how great they were, and we can't score on them.
But your quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, did. What kind of statement did he make with how he played against this defense that was much hyped headed into this game?
This is a great defense. There's one of the best players in the country right there. So just really pleased how our guys finished off. We talked about it at halftime. You know, we had Georgia down 2 scores, and we let that one slip away, and so we didn't want to do it again. And so got a little hectic there, but I'm actually glad we won it on defense.
Yeah, by the way, there's only one coach that could do that in the country, and that's Lane Kiffin. But credit to the Ole Miss Rebels getting this thing done. Again, Oklahoma had 2 chances in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter to tie it up, but just couldn't get it done. And don't look now, but the path to the SEC championship game and the college football playoff is wide open for the Rebels.
It definitely is. And we thought that Oklahoma, one of the better defenses in the country, well, 431 total yards by the Ole Miss Rebels. That just tells you Lane Kiffin, Trinidad Chambliss, they can put it on anybody.
Real quick stat here, by the way. Ole Miss has lost back-to-back games. They haven't lost back-to-back games since 2022. They are 6-0 after a loss under Lane Kiffin, which is, speaks to the coaching there. And with all the noise going on with the Oklahoma fans doing the Gator chomp, it was impressive for this team to keep their head on the road.
Most definitely. Great win for Lane Kiffin and the Rebels to stay on track.
All right, well, this was a huge game as it comes down to the group of 5, South Florida versus Memphis. Homecoming in Memphis as they took on South Florida, and the road team with the ball early. Byron Brown gets picked off by Everett Russo, but Russo fumbles the ball, and then Memphis gets on top of it. So just a wild sequence there. Less than a minute later, Frank Peasant takes a handoff, and he's the king compared to you peasants. Memphis up 7-0. Still in the first, 7-7. Byron Brown takes the handoff. Way to keep balance. And then the hurdle.
That was
is
crazy.
Circus stuff from Brown. Take another look at it, fellas, because you just have to.
Look at the contact balance, the sidestep right there, the hurdle. Man, that is ridiculous athleticism by 17.
He plays a little like Cam Newton, too.
He does, you're right.
Third quarter, 24-17 USF. Byron Brown still doing ridiculous stuff. Puts him in a spin move.
Wow.
I mean, he's putting together a highlight reel, 98 rushing yards in 2.5 quarters, and then a couple plays later, going for it on 4th down. Memphis gets a stop and keeps themselves in the game. Closing moments of the third here, Sam Franklin. Oh, man, Franklin, you're too fast for him. Number 4 gets number 4. He runs a quicker 40 than you. Touchdown. 31-17 USF, fourth quarter, Memphis in the red zone. Greg Duusier takes it into the crib, 13 yards out. They're going for 2 on the next play, and the attempt is incomplete. USF leads 31-23. It's 31-26 later in the fourth. Memphis going for it on 4th down now. And Duusier with the conversion here. Memphis comeback bid is on here.
Here they come.
Less than 2 left in the game. Brandon Lewis to Cortez Bram. That gives them the lead. The first time since the first quarter. They're going to go for 2. Lewis takes it in himself, eats a hit, and stretches out for the conversion. Take a second look at this. I mean, just absolute warrior type of mindset here from Memphis. Final moments, Nico Grammatica from 52 yards out to force overtime. We called him Nico Automatica, and it wasn't automatic here. No good. Memphis comes back from down 17 the same way Texas did, and they get the upset win on homecoming. I didn't see this coming. The only person that saw it coming is a man sitting to my right, Sam Ravech.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I wasn't even sure because Lewis was questionable coming into this game, but he gutted out this performance, 307 yards and a couple of touchdowns. But this game could have determined who was going to come out of the group of 5 in the American Athletic Conference. Still a couple of other teams lying in the weeds there. But, Memphis, I think, probably has one of the fast tracks to that spot right now if they continue to play like they did in this game. But,
pick the field goal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That was a questionable call there. All right, time now for Guarantee of the Game.
I couldn't help myself.
Presented by AT&T. Going back to his days at Fresno State, guys, Kalen DeBoer has been a coach that has coached in a lot of close games. And I think I can guarantee one thing. If you have been a fan of a Kalen DeBoer coach team, you have likely been on the edge of your seat. Even going back to Washington, it seemed like every single one of those games, and we talked about it on this show.
Yeah.
every single game was like super close, and we were wondering when is a team going to come up and bite them, and they just never really did, all the way up until the national championship game. Kalen DeBoer in one-score games since his days at Fresno State is 20-7. That doesn't happen in a vacuum, Maddie. And again, here at Alabama, they've had a knack of winning these close games. So how do they continue to do it, and how do Kalen DeBoer coach teams continue to win these close games?
Man, I just love his demeanor on the sidelines. I feel like he's just like unflappable. No matter what's happening, right? It could be complete chaos. It just seems like he's always got the same stoic look, right? And it's just fantastic. Yeah. And then, of course, his quarterback is an extension of him in that exact same way. I just believe that Ty Simpson, critical moments, he can make the plays you need to win the game. And right here, this is a great example to Daniel Hill. This was a huge one. He was 24-43 for 253 and 2 touchdowns. Ryan Grubb, Nick Sheridan, the quarterback coach, their preparation of this young quarterback, his ability, right, to just manage these tough situations, his ability to make plays with his feet, right, with Bernard, with Williams, with Isaiah Horton and Jam Miller. Daniel Hill's emergence now out of that running back room. So the balance that they have, hey, there is no balance. They don't run the ball well. It's all about Ty Simpson making plays. And I just love the way that the offense is constructed. And, of course, Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in college football right now. And I don't really think there's much of a debate with what he does for this football team each and every week. Yeah,
I think the way that running game is going right now definitely needs to improve. In the first half, they had 2 total net rushing yards. Right. But this is what we see from a Ryan Grubb offense in terms of using the passing game as an extension of their running game. But it's definitely going to need to improve, which is why you saw them struggling early on. But what Ryan Grubb is able to do in short yardage situations with his play calling is the most impressive thing that I've seen from any play caller in the entire country. That touchdown that they had late in the fourth quarter where it was a gotta have it down, just an incredible play call from Ryan Grubb to get Bernard open to the left side of the field, and then the 2-point conversion as well. I mean, you thought it was almost a Philly special with the way that we've been seeing teams run 2-point conversions, but it was a fake, and then Ty Simpson hitting the wide open receiver there. So I'm just really impressed with what Ryan Grubb has been able to do as a play call for this team, and it's what Alabama can lean on consistently, because where you make your money as an offensive coordinator is in those short yardage situations, because you can't be predictable. You got to be able to do some misdirection and all these different types of things, but I do lean towards the run game as a spot that has to improve later on down the season. Now, in the second half, it did improve 70 yards. But overall, a great performance from their team in the fourth quarter, because that's where they were struggling. When I look at how this Alabama team was doing, they were down 8 points with under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then Ty Simpson went 9 for 12 for 60 yards and a passing touchdown. Right. That's the most completions that he's had in any fourth quarter in his career.
Right. But this has never been like their MO. You mentioned it. The run game has never been what they specialize in, but they don't. They don't give up on it, right? If it's not working, they're going to always use it as a threat. Let's not forget, when they were at Washington and this duo was the head coach and the offensive coordinator, Dylan Johnson was a big reason why they got to the national championship game. Definitely. He was banged up, but he still ran the ball incredibly well throughout the playoffs and the semifinals. So I think that run game is still going to be I think it's going to improve. I don't think they're going to give up on it. I think they're going to use it as they continue down the stretch. This was also a potential letdown spot for Alabama. You're coming off the 4 straight games against ranked opponents. South Carolina, wounded animal, I guess you could call them, back up against the wall, right? This was an easy recipe to see this game playing out the way that it did. Alabama has found ways to win games in a variety of different ways, whether you look at the Tennessee game, going all the way back to Missouri. Like they figure out how to win these games. Defense has kind of been I think a hit or miss at times with this Alabama team.
Good point.
They have the potential to be a great defensive team. We've seen them live up to that potential, but there has also been some times where they have given up some explosive plays, but they come up in the biggest moments.
Just like here.
Well, you're right. They come up in the biggest moments, and they had the pick six to start the game. They had the forced fumble at the end of the game that gave them that sudden change moment to eventually take the lead and to win the game. But overall, I think the biggest concern for me in this defense is their ability to stop the run. there still seems to be an issue with an athletic quarterback like a Lenore Sellers with whatever the running attack that they're going against. They are very leaky in the run game, and that has to improve, right? Gave up 111 yards on the ground today, and Lenore Sellers was able to make a lot of plays with his feet, and he had a few that unfortunately got called back on penalties where he was making some great scrambles as well. So for them going forward defensively, they have to get better at stopping the run. The pass gaming, I think they're one of the best pass defending teams in the country with Saab, with Hubbard, Damani Jackson. We saw Deshaun Jones with his interception and pick 6. And then the linebacker crew doing a good job of just flying around and being available in that passing defense with Lawson, of course, right, with Justin Jefferson. So they got some dudes that can really make some hay. Now, who's going to be the emerging stars in the defensive front? Are we going to see some more of Keon Keeley, the young man who made a play there at the end and the sack to close out this game? Will we see more from Pierre in obvious pass rush situations? Right. But that is definitely something. The obvious pass rush downs and the rushing defense have to improve for Alabama going forward.
Yeah, that pass rush definitely needed to improve in this game when you're going against a South Carolina team that has Lenore Sellers, who's been sacked 22 times, the most in the country of any quarterback, and you're not able to get after him as much as you would expect from this Alabama defense. And then the Lenore Sellers aspect of it, I mean, you hit it perfectly, Matt. They could not bring him down. It looked like the guy was lathered in bacon grease with the way that he was just slipping in and out of tackles, making incredible runs.
He's amazing.
I think you look at that and you also think back towards the Vandy game. You're like, man, Alabama is a little bit vulnerable towards rushing quarterbacks.
Right.
And you got to pick these little things when teams are good. And I got to pick at the little things for Alabama. But they did a great job on stopping South Carolina on third down. I mean, they're already not a great third down team, South Carolina, but they were able to basically shut them down in this game, especially in the second half because they started off 2 for 2, and then Alabama shut the faucet down over there. So to be able to do those things is really impressive. But there are some things about this team that needs to improve, like that rushing offense, like stopping the run on defense, and like Ryan Williams not dropping passes like I just did right there.
Impressive.
Impressive, he says.
Well, here's the thing, too, and the Ryan Williams thing. We'll talk a little bit more about the SEC as a whole. But I am curious what your thoughts are about this offense. Jeremy Bernard is obviously one of the best gadget players you can call in the country. But Ryan Williams is a guy they need to stop dropping the football because he is he was one of the best 17-year-olds in the country last year. The man's 18 years old now. He's got to do that and catch the football. Let's move it along here. Texas was a team, too. Talk about backs up against the wall. Texas was a team that had their back up against the wall on the road at Mississippi State, trailed by as many as 17 points. We just saw the highlight. Hope Arch is okay, but a loss here would have eliminated or all but eliminate Texas from the SEC race and the college football playoff race. I guess credit to Texas for having their biggest comeback win since 2007. But it feels like we're kind of saying the same things about this Texas team week in and week out. Let's start with Arch. I asked you in the highlight, best game that you've seen him play this year. I think the answer is yes, but why?
Without a doubt. I mean, I think just really the pace and rhythm that he played with in this game was the biggest thing, right? We haven't seen that all year from him. Just his ability to dissect what the defense was doing, make quick decisions, get the football out of his hands, and you just see just the amount of attempts that he had. Hey, 29 completions. It's good. And we got to remember that he's still a young man. He's still learning on the job in one of the toughest conferences in all of football. But his toughness, his pocket movement, his ability to make some really good throws on the run that we saw in the low red zone were impressive. And he's gaining confidence. I think the Oklahoma game really was a great restart for him to feel better about himself and to realize that, hey, Arch, you're great. The name is great. There's no doubt about it. You're playing for a brand beyond, right, Texas's brand. But still, it is about just the collective whole, right? And I think he understands that. Sark understands that more. And we saw Sark go into his bag a little bit more with plays that we saw were effective for Arch last year. The fake receiver screens, the pump and goes, right? Getting him out of the pocket, separating him from the line of scrimmage and able to kind of see the field a little bit more clearly. So those are things that hopefully he recovers well from this concussion, because that's unfortunate, right? His best game of the year, and he gets banged up at the end of it. So we'll see how that plays out for him, but good things trending offensively, especially for the quarterback.
You said, hold on real quick, you said that Arch is gaining more confidence as he plays on these road environments. Do you guys also think that Sark is gaining more confidence in his quarterback, and maybe that has allowed him to go deeper into his bag, as it were, to call some of these plays?
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of that, right? There is that part of it. And I think for Sark, it's more so about learning how to choreograph the play calls that fit what does well for Arch, right? Because it's like, hey, we can have the same playbook, but the way that I call it's going to be different than the way that you call it, Sam.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Now it's like he's had enough time away from Quinn Ewers. He's had enough time now with Arch, and he understands, okay, these are the buttons I need to push to motivate him. These are the plays I need to run to keep him in rhythm, and these are the ways that I can take advantage of his athletic ability. And we're seeing also a young skill group that is getting better week by week, and an offensive line that is starting to finally gel a little bit and protect him better.
Yeah, and you saw that just through the box score on the game script.
Yeah.
Arch Manning in the first half, 99 yards passing. Arch Manning in the second half, 257 yards passing with 169 in the fourth quarter. I think part of that, Sam, to your question about Arch trusting him or maybe going in his bag a little bit more, when your back's up against the wall, you got to start throwing some haymakers.
Yeah.
You got to just YOLO it and, like, listen, like, I don't know if I should call this play, but we're down 17. I might as well just dial this up. What do you know? Arch is throwing a bomb for a touchdown. They were down 17 points, and they became the first team to overcome first SEC team, to overcome a 17 deficit in a conference game since 2013. So this is something that hasn't happened in a while, and it was all with Arch being trusted by Sark. The offensive line stepping up, protecting him a little bit more because he was sacked twice in the first half. And then in the second half, Arch got a lot more protection, right? The defense was able to step up because it wasn't just something where the offense did everything. It was all three phases of the game.
That's right. Niblets,
Ryan
return
Niblett,
again.
punt return. Huge. The defense, they had 6 sacks in this game. 4 of them came within the final 2 minutes of the game itself. And then when you look at the net total rushing yards from Mississippi State in the second half, how many did they have, Matt?
Man, not a lot.
Negative 31 net rushing yards.
Less than that.
It was tackle for loss after tackle for loss for this Texas defense. They stepped up in all 3 phases, and I think this was a dogfight for Texas. And it showed us their toughness because Sark said it after the game. This showed us how tough we are as a team. I think he was talking a little bit out the side of his mouth. He said this is the toughest team that I've ever had at this program, but yet to be determined.
Is there any credence to the Sark NFL situation here? I know his agent came out and said that it's not true.
This is a college football show, and we're going to talk more. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, hey, he's a good football coach. He's been in the pros before, so I wouldn't be shocked that was the case of him being in consideration for it. But more importantly, hey, let's just stay in the here and the now. And Sark, I think, being down the way that Skubie mentioned, that gave him, the offense, I think a little bit of like, hey, we're losing. Let's just go. Let's just cut it loose. Let's just do some things here and play aggressive. The most concerning thing about this game is more so just the explosive plays that the Texas defense gave up.
Right.
This is a unit that I keep telling you guys, like, it's a good defense. It's a good defense. It's hard for me to make that case, Texas fans, when Mississippi State is just throwing the football all over the yard against you guys. I know the sacks are important, but man, it was ugly at times for this defense.
I maybe have more confidence in the defense to flip things around. What we needed to see was the offense to do it because in their 4 road games this year, they had averaged 15 points per game, which was the 4th worst in all of FBS on the road this year. So good to see them put up 45 on the scoreboard today. But you can catch us right here every week live at 11 p.m. Eastern Time or anytime
here
on YouTube. Don't forget to start your day with Countdown to Game Day starting at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Either way, we've got you covered before and after all of the big games on Saturday. We'll break down every big game, every upset, every notable storyline from the day all season long. Your Saturdays start here. Time now for the playbook presented by Modelo. We go back to the touchscreen with our very own QB, Matt Sims. And Matty, the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech, one of 6 FBS teams to enter this week undefeated. They leave undefeated as well, 8-0 after the beatdown over the Syracuse Orangemen. Haynes King is the engine that makes this thing go.
It is.
He was on another level today. What do you see on the film?
I mean, we're just going to see a multitude of formations, personnels, and just ways to attack you both through the air and on the ground. And let's start off here. A 4th and 1 situation. The ball game is tied here early in the second quarter. We're going to see a late motion here right before the snap. And what I love about this play design is just the simplicity of it. We're going to get a must outside release go route by this bottom receiver. We're going to get a shallow cross by the opposite tight end, right? And then we're going to get an in cut by this backside receiver. For Haynes King, after we get this little motion here by the tight end, we're going to pull the guard, right? He's going to be that end man on the line of scrimmage. The tight end is also going to be securing the edge blocking here. The offensive line is going to go down the whole way. We're going to fake a toss here to the halfback. So everyone is thinking it's a run here to the left side of the formation, and then we're going to exploit with them overplaying that way and throw this backside shallow to the tight end. And it works to perfection because it's a critical situation. It's an obvious run set for them, and you got to cover each gap. And you can see right here the commitment by the Syracuse Orange, how close they get to the line of scrimmage, even the safety. And in man coverage, they lose sight of the tight end. And how easy is this for Haynes King? Good rhythm throw right there to that front peck, and Betham able to take it in for that touchdown.
Yeah, he had a pretty good day today, too. We'll get to that in just a second. But, you know, Buster Faulkner is probably one of the more underrated offensive coordinators in the entire country. He gets this thing going. He's got a great offensive line. But it helps when you have a quarterback that can improvise, but play within that system like Haynes King can do.
Yeah, I think Buster Faulkner is one of the best offensive minds in college football, and I definitely have like a little bit of a man crush on him. When I watch the Georgia Tech offense, I think a lot of what I would like to do as a football team is what they do, right? Because it's very confusing, and at the same time, they add a level of physicality that you have to really appreciate. So we get a similar situation again, right, where it's 1st and 10. We get a motion before the snap. And again, we're going to try to sell, right, a run inside zone here, right, by the halfback and the quarterback. The motion that went into it, the tight end that went into a motion, Betham, he is going to go outside here and just run a nice simple flat route. The tight end that was on the ball here, he is running that high corner to the back pylon, and then we got a low cross here by the Georgia Tech receiver. So for Haynes King, after that play fake, you're thinking flat to the over, right? We alert sometimes this corner versus certain matchups that we like, but hey, it's a corner on the tight end. We're going to leave that alone. So it's 1-2 to Haynes King doing your thing. And we see just the Syracuse offense losing sight of the man in motion, undisciplined in the back end. Easy pitch and catch for Haynes King and Betham again to hit an easy touchdown play there in the low red zone area.
2 catches for 2 touchdowns for Betham today. He had a pretty good one. But I think the key in this game, and we're going to see it here, was Haynes King ability to distribute the ball to multiple different receivers. He had 7 different receivers with multiple catches today. Nobody on this Georgia Tech team had more than 67 yards of total reception. So, like, that's pretty impressive in and of itself.
It is. And you've heard me say this before, right? Why do I like the Georgia Tech offense? Is because there's no, like, superstar that they work around. Everybody is a part of the unit. Everybody has a role to play. And here it's Dean Patterson's turn, right? Who's Dean Patterson? Hey, he's one of the guys that really doesn't get the rock that often. This is his only catch of the football day today, and it's going to pay off huge for them. So, hey, what's the theme that we're seeing? Motion before the snap, because we want to make sure the defense is communicating to the last second. We're going to get a motion across. We're going to fake that speed sweep here to the right side of the field. We have 2 tight ends in the game, 2 receivers, and a back. So that's called 12 personnel. And you got to think, if you're Syracuse, hey, look at this communication. They got to make sure that they're all set up here to stop the run on this side of the football. But with this motion, we're going to run a wide receiver screen here to the boundary. He's going to go up 3 steps, put his foot back in the ground, and then kind of ride that wave back to the line of scrimmage. The tackle and guard are going to block down and roll out. This tackle is going to block this corner that comes down, right? And then this guard is going to peel back, and he's going to be one that blocks this defensive end that's retracing to get back into the football play. So here we have this motion going to the sideline. You can see that the Syracuse defense is going with that flow naturally. The receiver just got done putting that 3rd step in the ground. We see the tackle already on his way out to cutting off that corner that's retracing for the screen. Haynes King does a great job of gaining depth, finding a lane to throw that screen. And look at this, the bodies right there. Great contact. Good job by the guard, too, not pushing the defender in the back and causing a fumble. A block in the back, and then Dean Patterson does a great job tight roping right down the sideline. And just look at this right here. Man, awesome, half for a hat. Look at the space that Patterson has to work with here.
One-on-one.
And then from there, hey, just outrun the safety and do your thing. And that's exactly how it played out.
So King threw for over 300 yards in this game. But what makes him one of the most special players in the entire country is his ability to do this.
No, absolutely. And now 13 personnel. We got 1, 2, 3 tight ends in the game. The back over here is going to go in motion right before the snap. they're going to respect that motion and think, hey, we got to make sure that we get to the outside and not let them outflank us. But what's beautiful about this play design, Haynes King is going to take a shuffle step to his right, fake that pitch to the running back. The opposite guard is going to pull around and kick out. This tight end that's in the shotgun with him is going to follow through and be that extra blocker through the lane. And you could see that when Syracuse reacts to look at all this communication. Look at this. You think they're confident about what's happening before the snap?
No.
Absolutely not. And with that late motion, look at how many bodies are overplaying again with that fake toss to the outside. And that gives fantastic blocking angles for the Georgia Tech offensive line and tight end group to be physical. Look at the push two in the interior, right? There's the line of scrimmage. We're already 2 yards right past that line of scrimmage. Great push. And then Haynes King's just patience at the line of scrimmage and his toughness in between the tackles really is the difference in why he is such a special football player for this team.
So all hail the king. Haynes King was
right.
Tremendous today.
Crown.
3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yes,
First
sir.
player in program history.
Haynes for
to do
Heisman,
that.
baby.
Haynes for Heisman.
Let's go.
And by the way, the guy behind him, Aaron Philo, is almost a miniature version of Haynes King, who can do a lot of the same things. So they're going to put that undefeated record back on the line when they go to NC State on the road next week. Thank you, Maddie. That was a playbook presented by Modelo. If you thought Haynes King was great today, there was a lot of other great top plays that we're going to get to here around the world of college football. Start South Florida visiting Memphis. Byron Brown says, I'm going to do this myself. We've seen him do this a couple of times.
Scooby-Doo.
That is a Scooby-Doo.
We most definitely call that a Scooby-Doo. I appreciate it, and I approve. Look at this. The balance is incredible. But they would lose this game. Great call by you, Sam.
We'll get to that later.
I'm not happy about it. I'll tell you that. All right. How about this? Georgia Tech tightrope touchdown. Dean Peterson takes the screen pass 37 yards down the field and gets it in the end zone. That's Pilates, all right? That's ballerina.
That's hot yoga.
Pilates.
That's
Pilates
hot yoga.
hard.
Somebody get Lane
That's
on the
hot
phone.
yoga too, right?
Somebody get
You got to
Lane.
do all those things to get right for this touchdown. Great play.
Either way, I can't do it. That was impressive. Tips and overthrow, Scooby.
We got to get those.
No, we got to get those. That's damn right. And Deshaun Jones, he got it. Great job with the check down by Lenora Sells, but he got to catch the football. Deshaun Jones, right, gets the Alabama Crimson Tide started with the scoreboard here on that tip drill interception.
It was so
pick
huge.
6 there. It was
so huge.
Great moment of the game for them to get into
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. That defense was huge.
All right, Auburn, Arkansas. This game gives a new meaning to the phrase contested catch there.
Man.
Cam Coleman, one of the best to do it in the entire country. Defender draped all over.
What a catch!
What a catch! Yeah,
Who's that guy?
I see a lot of Scoob on these pop-ups here.
Where
by
you?
the way.
I'm the energy guy. If we're gonna be here,
That's right.
giving energy. It's gonna be in top place. How about we do some superlatives like best ending?
Yeah.
In Chapel Hill, they're going to overtime and they decide to go for 2. And after Gio Lopez gets it to Benjamin Hall, he's just short of the goal line on the 2-point conversion. That's now 2 losses for North Carolina as they try to get their first ACC win. Very unfortunate there, but football's a game of inches, baby.
Here we go. We got top performers, and we got Drew Mestameka, North Texas quarterback. Great job sliding by the pocket. Look at this dime that he throws, but really more impressive, 608 yards. Yes, that is a school record. 608 yards in 1 football game with 4 touchdowns added to it.
Isn't he a freshman?
Man, you know what he is?
He's a freshman!
He's a man.
Oh,
All right,
yeah,
he
yeah.
can throw that ball really good.
Yeah,
He plays
shout out to his
phenomenal
receivers
football
because a
game.
lot of these look to be within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they just housed it. Great team effort all around there.
Talking about the first play was a dime down the sideline, man.
But I was just looking at the screen. That was right in front of me.
Let's give a shout out to a number 1 fan here, enthusiastically waving the flag there for South Carolina. Look, things have not gone great for Gamecock Nation so far this year. You got 1 conference win. You lost 3 in a row. But this is the type of enthusiasm.
Do you guys
that
notice that the sun is now lower? This guy was waving the flag all game. His deltoids are jacked. The sun's almost down. Still going. Incredible, man. How about some not top play, Sam?
Yeah, Alabama, South Carolina, again, more from this game, nail biter. But this play is more of a head scratcher. South Carolina punting the ball away. Alabama coverage team gets hit, and then they recover the ball.
You're
they have a
supposed to
special
yell
teams.
poison, poison, poison. You see it on the screen. That is on the returner. You got to let your boy know that the heat is coming up behind him, man. All right, how about this one? Because I guess I get the North Carolina ones. They go for the field goal here, and they had a chance to take a lead right into halftime, but it's a no-no, goes left, and it would haunt them, as you just saw, because they needed these 3 points. Kicking is not easy, as we have seen on the Pat McAfee show, but they should call that kid that hit the one from Vanderbilt.
That wasn't really that close.
Cincinnati visiting Baylor, and you just see Mr. Sorsby. Wow, that was a swing and a miss. That's how you cut right there on a dime. The deuce goes in for 6.
Well, Matt Sims' Tennessee Volunteers were their backs against the wall after losing to Alabama a week ago. Back on the road against Kentucky, and a team that gave Texas fits. Here's Aguilar throwing the ball deep. Chris Brazzell, 35-yard touchdown score. We said that quite a few times this year.
Razzle, dazzle, brazzle.
Vols up 7-0. Cutter Boley looking to get Kentucky going, and they would score a little bit in this game, but this one would be picked off by Farouk, and he's going to take this one all the way.
Farouk, the Farouk is on fire.
That was not planned. We just felt that.
That's right. That's right.
You guys planned that, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
14-0 lead for the Volunteers. Kentucky finally looking to get on the board. Kendrick Law turning the Jets on off the screen. He's gone 71 yards for the score. 14-7.
That's where I started
Still
yelling at the
Tennessee in front. Second quarter now, 15 seconds left. Vols looking to score. Aguilar, Braylon Staley, 24-yard completion. 10 seconds left to go before the half. From the 14-yard line, that's a touchdown for Ethan Davis. 35-21 at the half, and Tennessee just would never look back. Go to the third, 42-21 now. Chris Brazzell not done. Aguilar to the air.
Oh, beautiful.
It's just a fun offense to watch.
Hand it off.
He's going to hand it off here. First and goal for Tennessee. Peyton Lewis gets the carry, punches it in. Vols would go up 49-21, and they would actually tack on some more. 56 points they scored.
Wow.
Against this Kentucky defense.
What do they do, though? What do they do?
Tennessee, 56 points, the most against Kentucky since the year 2000.
All right, I see a lot of Texas A&M fans in our chat. So here's your highlight. Texas A&M on the road in Death Valley, taking on the Tigers. Tigers don't lose here often.
No.
First
Not
quarter,
at night.
Marcel Reed rolls right, and this was what makes him so good. He just doesn't throw the ball. He can also run the ball. Dual threat quarterback gets into the end zone, 41 yards for the touchdown. Aggies up 7-0 early. Friend of the show, by the way.
Daniels there, right?
Friend of the show, yes.
Little Jaden Daniel vibe
I
there.
can see it.
Yeah.
Grant Nussmeier finds Trey Green for the touchdown. We say that every single week. LSU ties the game at 7. You go to later in the quarter. Reed using his legs again, but I said dual threat. So watch him throw a dart to KC Concepcion for the touchdown. Texas A&M retakes the lead. Nice dance there. Second quarter now. Texas A&M going to punt, but the punt is blocked 3 phases. Jace Thomas gets it, goes to the back of the end zone for a safety. LSU cuts the deficit to 5. Next drive for Texas A&M after things slowed down. Reed steps up and finds Ashton Bethel Rowan, who makes an insane grab. His hands are rated E for everyone. Watch this replay.
Whoop. What? Man, this is just it's like the 5th time I've seen it, and still it just gets more and more impressive.
Next LSU possession, Nussmeier looks deep. Barry Brown for 41 yards. It's first and goal LSU. A few plays later, Harlem Berry does a Harlem shake into the end zone.
I knew you were going there, too.
See, you should have just said it with me. They take a 1-point lead, third quarter now. Reed calls his own number. I mean, they had a couple of possessions where they just couldn't get anything going. He threw 2 interceptions. They had the safety, and now here they are with the 3-point lead. Now LSU punting it away. 3 phases. It's important to play 3 phases. KC Concepcion fields it for a 79-yard punt return. This almost looks identical to the one that we saw in the Texas game. 79-yard touchdown. Texas A&M goes up 28-18. We go to later in the third as the fans are just disappointed. And so is...
Hey, when it's going bad, it's going bad, man.
What's the temperature of that seat, Sam?
Toxic.
Reed finds Jamarian Morrow on the screen, and he takes it in 24 yards for the touchdown. Texas A&M blows the doors off of LSU for a 49-25 win.
Score was worse than that, by the way.
LSU defense, right? Yeah.
Not great.
Well, that was who had they played up until this point? They hadn't played a great offense.
Man, Texas A&M too, just a ton of hits on Garrett Nussmeier, and this one really gritted it out there at the end because it was not easy for the quarterback in LSU.
All right, so let's kind of have a bigger.
We got a lot of Texas A&M fans in the YouTube chat.
What are they saying, Skubie? What are they saying?
Yeah, talk to us.
A lot of them are saying A&M night games in Baton 20 and 2 under Kelly. So a shout out to you for coming up with that stat. And fickle to LSU, a couple people just making fun of that. And then A&M was so good, but refs were kind of mid. We see you in the YouTube chat. Thank you for participating in the show.
I don't think the refs were going to help out LSU in this game. They need a lot more help. But this is a toxic situation for LSU now. Fans leaving the stadium there before it was like even towards the second half.
Not great.
Coming into week 9, though, there was about 10 or so teams in the SEC that had a legitimate shot, I think, of making the SEC championship and the college football playoff. Texas A&M, with the win over Alabama, by the way, undefeated, and they control their own destiny. And a team that's never won an SEC championship, by the way, they are like a win over Samford and South Carolina, away from really punching their ticket to the college football playoff. How impressive has this Texas A&M team been this year?
I mean, Texas A&M is playing as good a football as anybody, I feel like, in the country right now. And it's what's scary about it is that I feel like they haven't even really hit their groove yet offensively.
Yeah.
Right? And we even said that to Marcel Reed when he joined our show a few weeks ago. And it seemed like, for whatever reason, LSU forgot that he can run. And that's the randomest thing I've ever seen. There was just many times where poor gap containment by the rushing lanes of the LSU Tigers. No one really having eyes on the quarterback, especially in the low red zone area right there. I mean, you know, there they are playing zone coverage, and no one is paying attention to the quarterback. So it's unbelievable how Texas A&M, Mike Elko, how prepared they are, how they seem to just get it done in many different ways, and yet still have not hit their groove offensively, even though they had this great performance today. I still feel like there is more room for improvement for this team, and they have an extremely high ceiling because Cassius Howell, one of the best defensive ends in all of college football right now, was an absolute havoc in the backfield against the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, and just looking at the top of the SEC right now, Texas A&M is right over there than Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Texas. I think the top 5 is who you're looking at as serious contenders. Still need to see some more from Texas to feel confident in them, but they're still in the fight. But I think, Matt, to your point of Texas A&M just not really hitting their stride here, we had Marcel Reed on the show, and we talked about how good that defense is, right? They are so good on third down and stopping teams, and LSU couldn't buy a conversion on third down in this game. They were 2 for 12, but then Marcel Reed joked with us and said, I see other teams struggling to get first down conversions on them on third down, but we get them in practice against them. I thought that was awesome as well, but I was just looking at the game script for this Texas A&M team against LSU. Now, after scoring 2 touchdowns to start the game, they went safety, interception, and then it was halftime, and they were down by 4 points. And that was thanks to this Texas A&M defense just being in lockdown mode. So here's one of their mistakes that Texas A&M had. And then the safety for the block punt. And then you have the interception in the red zone. These were all costly mistakes and penalties. But then some way, somehow, they were able to lock in and then go touchdown, and basically put this game away because they're so talented. And you have a quarterback in Marcel Reed who rushes for 108 yards and throws for 202, even though he had 2 interceptions in the game. So this team still feels like they have another gear to reach, and that is what is so impressive about them. And you got to love their chances in the SEC.
They have another gear to reach. Are they the team that you trust the most in the SEC right now, or are you still leaning more to the Alabama side of things as a team that you trust the most in this conference?
I am really sorry, Texas A&M fans, because I really am a huge fan of your football team, but I still feel like I trust Georgia and Alabama just like a little bit more right now, right, with the way that they play. And I
have
think
somebody saying they're going to go undefeated in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, they very well could be, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure about it quite yet. And I think it's more so just about the fact that I still think that Marcel Reed, being a young football player, right, and him being a little streaky at times. And the stats were great today, right? I mean, but at the same time, it was 12 of 21 passing, right? So he's got to clean that up a little bit, but overall, like what they're doing so far. They're a good football team, and they have plenty of more room for growth on that offense side of the football. Still impressive they were able to score 49 despite all those hiccups offensively.
Yeah, can't count out Vanderbilt as well in this conference.
That's right.
There's still a lot of other teams that are in contention, which is going to make the month of November so exciting to see. Speaking of exciting, I don't know if you'd call this game super exciting, but the weather had something to play in it. They say it never rains in Autzen Stadium, but there was some rain coming down pretty hard. Wisconsin was a team that hadn't scored a touchdown, I think, in 11 straight quarters, going back to the Michigan game in early October. But it was a slow start for Oregon. But this is it's kind of up and down for Oregon. I'm not sure how I feel about this team. Yeah. This is a team that went on the road, put up 750 yards of offense against a Rutgers team last week in a 56-10 rout, and then they come back home and struggle a little bit against a Wisconsin team that we know their issues, and Luke Fickell likely, I'm going to say likely, but potentially out as a head coach by the end of this season. What are we to make of Oregon here after week 9?
Well, I feel like we went from, hey, Big Ten, they got 4 teams there at the top, and then it's like, okay, Penn State gone. All right, we got 3 teams at the top, and that's really impressive. Okay, and now Oregon's like, kind of fizzling out a little bit, I feel like. And now I'm at the point where the only 2 teams that I feel like I really trust in the Big Ten, Ohio State and Indiana. Right. And I think it's more so just predicated on the fact of I believe in both of their defenses, right, to be dominant and to win in dominant fashion. And we saw that again today with Indiana's performance against UCLA. It was like the perfect games of like, oh, hey, we'll see UCLA. Nope, no problem at all. Took care of it all 3 phases. The defense was locked in. Fernando Mendoza didn't have to do much today. Hemby and Black did an awesome job running the football. They get guys open in the passing game. They can dominate the line of scrimmage. So Oregon, I don't know. It's like one of the 7-1 football teams in the country right now where like I like what they're doing. Dare I say it, I feel like at times maybe just a little bit too much of a finesse-style football team, and I think ultimately that's what bothers me about Oregon just a little bit.
Don't tell Dan Lanning. He's not going to like
it. He is not going to like that. I'm sorry, Dan. Yeah. I'm sorry, but there's just something about the team when I watch them.
I'm with you. No,
where I just like I wish there was just a little bit more grit to them, and I feel like I see that from Indiana. I see that sometimes from, or all the time from Ohio State, right? And I just want to see that more from Oregon.
They're a young football team.
That's a great point, too.
And I think that's the reason why Oregon kind of plays towards that level. But they're well coached. And that's the reason why we still look at them as a top 10 team in the entire country. And for Indiana, I mean, right now we have a poll going on in the YouTube chat. And I'm going to pose this question to you guys because Indiana dominated 56-6 today. And it just feels like they got everything clicking. And they're an autopilot. The way they dominated Illinois. And we asked the chat, who is the number 1 team in the country? Matt, who is your number 1 team in the country? And then I'll tell you what our YouTube chat has said about that question.
I don't care what the chat has to say. I know who the number 1 team in the country is. It's the Indiana Hoosiers. There's not a doubt in my mind. When I watch this football team, it's the most well-coached football team in all of college football right now. And I know that we love moving the goal line further and further away because it's Indiana and it's Carson-City and they're not supposed to be good. Well, guess what? They're really good and deal with it. Yeah. And I think he's also proving, too, that just the evaluation process of how we go through it, because we keep talking about all these stars, right, from their team, and they came from James Madison and all these different places, but it's about just the combination of how they coach, right, how they motivate their football team, and how prepared they are each and every time that they play. Aiden Fisher and his physicality, Hardy at the linebacker position, Pons, right, and Moore in the secondary, just lights out. So I just feel like right now there is zero weakness to the Indiana Hoosiers football team.
Yeah. Shout out to someone in the chat that just went, Hoosiers? Right. But apparently
but don't do that to your boss. All right?
Apparently the whole chat doesn't seem to agree because 76% when they were asked if the Hoosiers are the number 1 team in the country, they said no. Now,
Who is?
Everyone's going with Ohio State. They're going with Ohio State.
The Texas win
who have they beat? Who has Ohio State really beat so far?
I get that, the who have they beat conversation. I don't know that it necessarily means a whole lot when you're talking about the type of caliber of team that they have. I mean, not only